My new apartment. My name is Nicholas Abernathy, my friends call me Nick. I am 32 years old, with a very, very, very sound mind. I am not crazy. Although crazy people don't know they are crazy, I am 99% sure I am not. About a year ago, I lived at 253 Dead Man's Lane, in a small town in Delaware. I can't remember the name, but that is where the story takes place. There's a reason they call it Dead Man's Lane, I know that now. I don't live there anymore. I now reside at an undisclosed location due to the events that occurred at my previous residence. I don't want them to know where I am. I hope you understand. The town I lived in was a very small town, a one-stoplight town, a town so small that if you blink while driving through, you'll miss the whole entire town, which was perfect for me. It was a welcomed escape from the hustle and bustle of city life, which was slowly draining me to the point of exhaustion. So when my boss at the time came to me and said that our company was downsizing and that I would be let go, I gladly took the severance package and moved on with my life. I grew up in a small town, so I was familiar with the quiet and simplicity that it offered, and I longed to go back there again. So, while sitting in my big city apartment, I grabbed my laptop and started to search small town living, houses for sale, and things of that sort. I came upon an old Victorian-styled house built in 1859. It was beautiful, dark blue with dark gray trim, 2 floors, balcony, front porch, and a very small room at the top of the house with an octagon-shaped window in it. For some unknown reason, I've always wanted to live in such a house, so this was like a dream come true. The price wasn't bad, actually pretty good, low, some might say. So I called the number displayed in the ad, and made arrangements with the older gentleman on the other end, to come view the house 3 days later. Upon arriving at the house, it looked just like the picture in the ad. Except there was one small detail that the ad did not say. The house was in the middle of a giant dirt field, all by itself. No trees or shrubbery around, just a dirt field. That time of year, some farmer should have had corn or something growing in a field that big, but there was nothing. This struck me as kind of odd. The only thing besides the house in the field was one electric pole with wires running from it to the house, and a transformer on top. The driveway was at least a quarter mile long, with other little roads branching off of it, going to certain parts of the field, then connecting back to the main driveway. One road wrapped around the whole entire house. It seemed like forever to get there. Once there, I met an old man, who said his name was Bernie, or Benny, or something with a B. I can't really remember. He said he was the owner of the house, and that I could feel free to look around if I wanted. I asked if he was coming in. His face turned pale, as he said, "No, I'll stay right here, thank you very much." Looking back now, that should have been a red flag. An owner that wouldn't go into his own house. Red flag alert. But I was naive, blew it off, and entered the house alone. I expected it to be a little rundown and dirty, given the dirt field that surrounded it, but to my surprise, it was immaculately clean, completely furnished, and looking like something straight out of a magazine. I went through each room in total awe of its beauty. Each room except the little room with the octagon window. I couldn't find a door or a staircase leading to it. This too, I found a little odd. And the basement. I've never been a big fan of basements, so I figured I'd go check it out at some point. What's the big deal? It's a basement. I met up with the old man outside. There we discussed and agreed on a price, at which time, he informed me that everything in the house was included in the deal, with one stipulation. No furniture, knickknacks, or anything else could be removed from the home, or moved to any other part of the home. Everything had to stay exactly where it was. I could use any of the appliances, books, and things of that sort, but they had to be returned exactly where they were. Exactly. I could add to it, but nothing, including the new stuff, could be moved or removed. Given that all the furniture and such was from the Victorian era, I thought, why get rid of it, and agreed to this condition. An agreement that I would later regret. I'm going to skip the part about going to the bank, the financing, and all that crap. No one really cares about that anyway. Moving in day was exciting for me. I finally got the house of my dreams. I just started my new job, and I was back to the quiet life. I left all my furniture and stuff at my old apartment, only packing my clothes and toiletries. I figured maybe the next guy or girl could use some of it. Anyway, I met the old man at the house. I'm just going to call him Mr. B, since I can't seem to remember the man's name. I later found out that Mr. B lived just 2 blocks away with his wife of 43 years, Isabella. I never got the chance to meet Isabella, although I wish I had. He was an old steel mill worker. You could tell from his physique. He may have been old, but the man had muscle. He had bought the house some 30 years back, with the same stipulation that he had told me. He never lived in the house, said it troubled his wife immensely, from the first day she saw it. He tried to sell it many times before, but the deals always fell through for some reason. Until then. He then handed me the keys, and as he did, he grabbed a hold of my hand, hard, and pulled me to him, and whispered something in my right ear. He whispered, "Beware of the rain." There's a reason he said that to me, I know that now. He then hung his head and slowly walked away. How he knew, I don't know, but he did. My first couple weeks in the house were rather uneventful. The weather was nice with a slight breeze. I even opened a couple windows upstairs, to get some airflow in there. I had asked Mr. B about opening the windows. He said that was fine, since they were part of the house, not possessions within the house. So I left them open for a few days. On my first night, since the place was fully furnished, I hung up my clothes, which took all of 20 minutes. I put my shampoos and such in the master bathroom, which was almost as big as my bedroom. Then went to the local grocery store for some food and drinks. I can't remember the name of it, but something didn't seem right, so I left as fast as I could. Anyway, that's not really important. Wait, where was I? Oh yeah, the house. I spent the rest of the time checking out each room, one by one, and seeing everything the house had to offer. About a week or so later, I finally found that door that led to that little room with the octagon window. It was a secret door panel, hidden in the closet of the room that I decided to make my bedroom. For some unknown strange reason, something told me to push on the back of the closet. I did. The door swung open, and revealed a spiral black metal staircase that led to said room. It was a very small room, about the size of a walk-in closet by today's standards. In said room, was a very old desk, positioned just under the octagon window, and a beautiful stand-up lamp to its left. Old wooden planks for walls, as well as the ceiling. The floor was what looked to be brand new hardwood. So I decided to make it my office, the place I would do my writing. Since I had a great view of the dirt field out the window, what better place to draw inspiration from? Right. That's a joke, by the way. The rest of the house consisted of 5 bedrooms, a huge kitchen, a parlor, a living area, 3 full bathrooms, a study, and a basement. Oh, that basement. I decided to check it out one night. I was bored and needed something to do. That was a very bad idea. The basement was kind of creepy. Nah, I'm lying, it was really, really creepy. The door to the basement had little holes all along the edges, top, bottom, and right-hand side of it, like someone had nailed it shut at one point. The stairs leading down to the basement were old and rickety, and would probably fall apart at any given moment. Unlike the rest of the house, that was immaculately clean, like I noted in previous passages. The basement, however, was not. There was dust, and dirt, and cobwebs, everywhere. It had a strange odor too. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I know now. Along the far wall, there was a series of 5 file cabinets, covered in dust. To the right, there looked to be 2 metal surgical tables, covered with white sheets. In the middle of the tables, there was a small stand, with a large glass container, with tiny little tubes running out of it, and some kind of pump machine behind it. There were all kinds of knives, gloves, and masks, scattered all over the floor. It looked like no one had been down there for ages. I was completely horrified. I ran up the stairs as quickly as I could, shut the basement door, and never voluntarily went down there again. What was that place? About a month or so went by. In all that time, I couldn't get what Mr. B whispered to me, on the day I moved in, out of my head. So, every morning, while drinking my coffee, I really miss coffee. Anyway, I would check the weather app on my phone, to see the conditions for the day. On that particular day, it was gonna be partly cloudy, with a 60% chance of rain. Okay, I thought, maybe now we'll see what there is to be so afraid of. And just like the app said, it started to rain about 4 p.m. It didn't last long though, but that is how it all started. I was in my office, the rain started to fall. Almost as soon as it did, I started to hear music, not today's music, but orchestra music, big band music. I didn't have a radio up there, and I was in the middle of a field, so it couldn't be a car. I started to get concerned. Where was it coming from? I walked down the spiral staircase to my room, still hearing it play. I walked into the hallway, and to the room across from mine. As soon as I put my hand on the doorknob, the music stopped. And the rain did too. That was weird, I thought. It must have been my imagination, the rain hitting the gutters, somehow making the acoustic sounds of music in the house. Something. There had to be a reason. After a while, I stopped thinking about it, and went on with my night. A few days later I ran into Mr. B at the hardware store. I told him about what happened. He didn't seem surprised. He just said, "I tried to tell you," and left. The day that changed my life forever happened about 2 weeks later. I was at work. I had taken an assistant manager position at a local department store. The pay wasn't as good as my previous job, but it wasn't as stressful either. During my shift, this guy came up to me, out of nowhere, and asked, "You own the old Bennett place out on Dead Man's Lane, don't you?" I was reluctant to answer, but I finally said, yes I do." He was a big guy, biker type, 50-ish, with long gray hair and tats. He said, "You're braver than I am. I wouldn't go near that place. Hope you found Jesus. You're gonna need him." The ride home that day was unsettling. Everything that had happened was starting to get to me. I was nervous. Nervous to go home. After what this guy said, what Mr. B said, the music thing, and that weird basement. I was on edge. On edge so much, that when I walked through the door, instead of placing my keys on the shelf by the door, I tossed my keys, hitting a small ceramic ballerina knick-knack off the shelf, and breaking it. "Oh, shit," I said loudly. "Something has not only been moved, but it's been broken. There's no way I can put it back." Just then, I heard it. A slow growling sound, like a wild animal, coming from the basement door, then from the kitchen, then from upstairs, then from everywhere. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my head, and fell to my knees, falling over into the fetal position. I started screaming, "Stop, stop, I'm sorry, please, stop." It did not stop. It got louder and louder. From the floor, I could see the basement door open quickly, then slamming shut. All the door were doing it now, except the front door, that remained closed for some reason. I felt a very cold breeze go right through my body. Every light in the house was turning on and off, on and off. I managed to get to my feet, running down the hallway toward the kitchen. The main floor bathroom door flung open, hitting me hard, and knocking me backwards down the hallway. I lost my footing, and fell to the floor. I must have hit my head, because the next thing I remember, I was waking up on the floor, hearing the sound of my doorbell buzzing, over, and over, and over, again. All was silent and calm, except for the buzzing. The buzzing soon turned to loud pounding on the front door. I pulled myself together, standing to answer the door, when I heard, Nick, I know you're in there. Nicholas, answer the damn door." I opened the door quickly, only to see Mr. B standing there, shaking, sweating, not nearly the composed man I knew. "There's a really bad storm coming. We have got to get out of here. I can't, with all good conscience, let you stay here alone. We have got to go. Now." The storm clouds moved in fast, at a speed I'd never seen before. Thunder started to roar. I tried to explain to Mr. B that I have broken a knick-knack. In his panic state, he said, "That's the least of your worries, let's go." The rain started falling hard. Lightning was crashing, as the thunder roared on. That music started again, only this time, Mr. B heard it as well. Then what happened next, seemed like something out of a bad horror movie. The house seemed to suck Mr. B into it, nearly knocking me down in the process, sliding him fast across the floor, and slamming him hard into a table that laid against the adjacent wall, breaking the leg of the table, and forcing it to crash to the floor. Another thing broken. The front door slammed shut with a force so hard, that it broke the front 2 windows completely out, allowing the rain to pour into the house. I quickly ran over to make sure Mr. B was okay. "Son of a bitch, it's too late. We're never getting out of here now," Mr. B said angrily. The growling started again, only this time it seemed like it was right in front of us. I felt a real bad burning on my left arm, lifting my sleeve to see what it was. I saw 3 scratch marks with blood dripping from the third. Mr. B grabbed hold of his neck. After lifting his hand, I noticed the same 3 scratches, only this time, all of them were bleeding, and bleeding bad. "The house is coming alive," he screamed. "Upstairs, we must get upstairs." A lightning bolt hit the electric pole outside, causing the house to go black. Now in complete darkness, hearing that music, hearing that growling, and both of us bleeding. I quickly pulled out my phone to turn on the light, so we could at least see by that. Mr. B's phone had broke in the crash. I turned on my light, only to notice the cellar door slowly opening by itself. The growling was getting louder. What appeared to be a black mass of goo was pouring from the basement door, and heading in our direction, fast. I screamed, "Look out," and grabbed Mr. B by the arm, and pulled him out of the way, barely escaping the goo. We ran frantically up the stairs. What should have been 20 to 25 steps, seemed more like 30 or 40. "This house is alive," Mr. B yelled. Finally reaching the top, I shined the light down the hallway of doors. That was the second floor. The hallway seemed to be longer than I remembered, with extra doors that I never had before. The walls were expanding and contracting, like the house was breathing. There was a red substance, resembling blood. It could have been, for all I know. It was oozing from the ceiling, and running down the walls. My bedroom was at the end of the hallway. Mr. B and I made a run for the last door on the left. My bedroom. We ran, and just as the red goo was about to hit the floor, I arrived at my bedroom door, grabbing the knob, and opening it quickly, looking back, hoping to see Mr. B right behind me. But unfortunately, he was not. Shining my light down the hallway, I could see that he was about a quarter of the way from the door, running as fast as he could, but getting nowhere. It was like he was running on a treadmill. The red substance oozed down onto the floor, and quickly made a beeline, straight for Mr. B. I screamed, "Give me your hand." I stretched my hand out as far as I could. Mr. B extended his, but it was too late. The red substance reached his shoe. Mr. B screamed in agony, as the substance began to burn him. The smell of burning flesh filled the hallway. As more of the substance reached him, Mr. B ignited into flames. I can still hear his screams in my head. It only lasted a few seconds, and then the flames were gone, and so was my friend. Mr. B was gone. I quickly ran into my room. From out of my bedroom window, I could see what appeared to be flames. When the lightning hit the pole, it must have caused the transformer to catch fire, igniting the house as well. The outside of the house was burning, but not the inside, and the rain wasn't stopping it. What the hell is this place? Shining my light back into the room, I could see shadows in the shape of people appearing on the walls. Some short, some tall. Then the voices started. "I'm so cold. Mommy, help me." I quickly ran up to my office, the only place left to go. From out of the window, I could see the rain pouring down, lightning bolts lighting up the skies. The voices continued. Down below, I could see that the rain had fallen so hard and fast, that it washed away all the dirt from the field, exposing skeletal remains all around the house. Then it hit me. Oh my god, this is not a house, it's an old funeral home, built on cemetery grounds. They must have removed the headstones and left the bodies. That would explain everything. In shock, I stepped backwards, my back hitting the wall. I slid down into a sitting position. My phone had fallen to the floor. The light just so happened to be shining on the doorway to the room. I mumbled to myself, I didn't know. I didn't know. From out of the corner of my eye, I could see a black mass in the shape of a person, crawling through the doorway, and over to me, shrieking a horrible sound. It reached its hand-like thing out, as if to choke me. Totally exhausted, I put my hands over my eyes and screamed, as the shadow engulfed the room. Somebody, somewhere, must have seen the flames and called the fire department. From speaking with my landlord and police officials, I gathered that when they found me, I was in the basement, lying on one of the tables, mumbling and drooling on myself. I don't recall any of that. Mr. B's body was never recovered. I had told this story to the police, and some guy dressed like Judge Judy, and they all looked at me like I was crazy. I am not crazy. I like my new apartment. It's kind of small, like a studio apartment. I got a bed, and a dresser, a nightstand, and a lamp. Best of all, the rent is free. I don't have to work anymore. My neighbors are nice, a little quirky if you ask me, but nice nonetheless. There's a TV that we share in the living room, a game room where we gather and play cards, ping pong, and games of that sort. I have my own bathroom, which is nice. Food is included. It's mostly just mush, but it's still food. Security here is tight here. There are cameras everywhere, and there are rules. If you break one of those rules, the landlord will move you to a much smaller apartment, with no windows, but gives you this really cool jacket to wear, that lets you hug yourself. I like that jacket. There are a bunch of nice ladies that come by every day, giving us little white pieces of candy. Sometimes they're different colors, but mostly white. Sometimes they even come at night. Oh, I gotta go now. It's bedtime. I'm excited. Tomorrow we go outside. Good night.